The House January 6th committee isn't only trying to hold those responsible for the attack accountable, it's also trying to prevent a similar attempt to overturn the will of the voters from ever happening again. This is a major concern for both the committee and outside members who say the current laws could be exploited even more during the next presidential election. Joining us now is NBC News senior political editor Mark Murray. Mark, so what has the committee uncovered so far? I know it's a robust amount of information about the ways that former President Trump and his allies tried to overturn the 2020 results.
Sam, as my colleague Peter Nicholas has reported, the January 6th committee is zeroed in on the alternate or fake electors that Trump's team tried to actually put up in the weeks before the Electoral College counting that ended up occurring on January 6th. And one of the theories that's been discredited by then Donald Trump's legal team was that then Vice President Mike Pence could actually end up allowing those alternate or fake electors to really in the states that Joe Biden ended up winning at the end of the day by thousands of votes, even in the closest of states in the 2020 presidential election. Of course, Mike Pence actually followed through on his ceremonial duties, not doing that. But there is concern that the next time you can end up having where a vice president tries to go more than his just ceremonial duties and recognizing electors from states that a presidential candidate did not win.
Of course, there are so many what ifs. This happened, Vice President Pence's decision, or so many other steps along the way where this could have turned out very differently. So knowing that, what kind of changes are actually going to be put in place or could be to prevent another attempt at overturning the election?
Lawmakers are looking at the Electoral Count Act, and that is a law that was written in the 1800s that still is not necessarily precise on a vice president's role during the electoral counting situation. And so lawmakers want to go to that, really spell out what a vice president can and cannot do, as well as how you end up dealing with alternate slates of electors and whether or not the courts should be the proper mechanism for deciding disputes rather than partisan lawmakers.
Well, that's a very interesting point because the courts were the backstop in 2020. So should we have faith that the judicial system would work again should there be threats in 2024?
Yeah, and Sam, beyond the Electoral Count Act and whether you can actually end up revising that, the other thing that ended up helping on was that elected officials ended up doing their jobs, despite the pressure that they were receiving from then President Donald Trump. And whether it was sitting governors, sitting Republican governors, sitting Republican secretaries of states, people ended up doing their job. And there is the worry that you could end up having different Republican governors, different Republican secretaries of states. And if a similar situation ended up occurring for in 2024 or beyond, whether that system ends up holding up. And so that is the real threat, that it goes well beyond these electors or what even the January 6th committee is looking into.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.